What could compel a man to actively lose 100,000 subscribers?
There is.
What if something greater than just the physical award that commemorates the milestone was up for grabs? And what if that journey to properly commemorate one's lifetime goal resulted in 15 months of the biggest, most expensive, plot-twisting, soul-wrenching, very almost channel-ending project inadvertently led to the greatest hoodwink he thought not previously possible?
And weirdly, because of it, I am now proud to present to the world for the very first time, introducing the Glarses X Cherry MX Purple, and all 1,036,800 of them that I will be packing for the next 7 days in my Glarses company official warehouse. Hi guys, welcome to my warehouse.
That's wall number 1.
That's the ceiling.
Wall number 2.
These are the boxes. It just keeps going.
After doing some research,
It turns out that YouTubers usually just get a million of something that was special to the channel, and then they dump it into a pool. I don't have a pool, but I do have a bathtub. The same tub that I have not used once since moving into this new house. I don't believe in taking baths. It's like being in human soup. So the plan was very simple. Fill a bathtub with a million of something special to me. And the obvious thing, the one thing that's been special, or infamous, I should say, is the Cherry MX Brown. So how on earth did the aim of acquiring a million Cherry MX Browns gonna be packing switches for the next, hopefully not that many hours, turning to me acquiring a completely different switch and packing those into 30,000 bags by myself? Switch packets. Honestly, I'm not really sure, but the one thing I am sure of is that I was dead set on getting a million Cherry MX Browns.
oh, look at that.
And I thought it would be easy. I've built a giant keyboard on a wobbly ironing board. Surely it can't be any harder than that, right? Well, if there's anything you take home from this video today, it is that a million is a big number. And that you should also go and buy Cherry MX Purples at glarses.com while stocks last. Where on earth was I going to acquire literal metric tons of switches for free? It turned out that almost nobody holds a million MX Browns. They just don't. And the only place that does is the source. So, strapped with a lofty goal, I flew out to Nuremberg, Germany to face my biggest foe head on, Cherry. I was actually here for a content creator tour, but my real plan was to find where they stored the MX Browns, put them in my bag, and fly back home with them. It was a foolproof plan.
Hey, I lost my Cherry MX Browns. I left them somewhere. Do you guys know where they are?
Unfortunately, that turned out to be harder than I thought.
Has anybody seen my Cherry MX Browns? I left like a couple 100,000. I might have lost them somewhere. So, what does a guy have to do here to get a couple million Cherry MX Browns sent to his house?
Buy them with cash.
What if the guy maybe can't afford them right now? So I heard you're the one I come to about the Cherry MX Browns. I'd like to give you a couple of reasons why giving me Cherry MX Browns, specifically 1 million, is a good idea for Cherry. The first reason is it will make me really happy. By any chance, do you guys know where they store the Cherry MX Browns? No?
Absolutely no.
It was like they had me on some blacklist. Nobody wanted to talk.
They literally make them here. They have to be somewhere. Hey, so I'm new, it's my first day. I was told I have to go to the factory to find the Cherry MX Browns. Do you know where I can find that? No? Right, okay, thank you. Just gonna...
Doubly, unfortunately.
This donut is really dry.
Packing one switch bag? Easy. Packing 30,000? Not so easy. So each bag has packs of 36. Switch number 1. Switch number 2. Switch number 3. 36. And yeah, there you have it. One bag. You see, it's me, it's the logo, okay.
By my calculations, I need to do another 27,000.
I feel like this is going to be one of those things where I really regret starting it. Regardless of my initial plan failing, I got to talk to a lot of Cherry staff on that trip. And after getting over our general Cherry MX Brown dispute, I wanted to come here today and tell you that I still don't really like Cherry MX Browns. That hasn't changed at all. We had a lot more in common than I thought. Surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, a true passion for mechanical keyboards. Yeah, who would have thunk it, right? Cherry keyboard, not me. We got to talking in the emails after the trip. Mostly me asking for 1,000,000 MS Browns and them saying no shot. Until one of the Cherry reps suggested this. Look, right, we can't just loan you that many switches. It's a lot of money, logistics and time, and by the sounds of it, you're not gonna do anything useful with it. But if you want to work on something else together, and you promise that you pay for it all, we might hear you out. Let me tell you this. Upon hearing this, it dawned on me that I had the potential to do the funniest thing I might ever get to do. Imagine this, right? Cherry, a multi-million-dollar company with an elite history in manufacturing, who are inarguably the most important entity in my entire hobby. Working together with a guy who can't even spell his name right and potentially giving him a switch on the legendary color lineup of switches, I had but a single question to ask. Can we make it purple? Many months later, the secret project known internally as the Glarses switch has now materialized into this, the Cherry MX Purple. And honestly, I still can't believe this is real. Like this right here, so funny. So, what exactly is a Cherry MX Purple? Some say it is the Goldilocks of the tactile world. That some would be I, since only me and a couple people have used. Anyways, I've tried a lot of tactile switches in my time, especially non-clicky MX tactiles. I would say they usually fall into two main categories: the Chad Holy Panda and the feeble MX Brown. You didn't think my reign of violence against Cherry MX Browns would stop just because I worked with Cherry, right? Because no, it's not. Sorry, Cherry. Whilst I prefer the mid-stroke position and shorter length of the MX Brown type tactile bump, the magnitude of the bump is just too small. It doesn't mentally register with me that I've actually pressed the switch now. And whilst the much larger tactile bump of the Holy Panda is way more noticeable, the tactile event starts right at the top of the keystroke, right? The push down and carries throughout the whole stroke. The bump is no longer a slight notification that you've pressed the switch down, it's the entire key press, and for me that's too much. What I want, or what I like, is something in the middle. A regular pole, mid-stroke tactile with a short but medium-sized tactile bump. That's what Cherry MX Purples are. So, the Goldilocks switch. It's built around Cherry's clear tactile stem, which is my favorite stem of all time. We also have a first time exclusive, and I can't believe they agreed to this, long springs in a Cherry switch. That is so that the return feels nice and snappy. And finally, it also has the improvements from Cherry's MX2A revamp. The most notable change being Cherry's stock lubrication, which I actually got to see in person. I've been using Cherry MX Purples in a lot of keyboards for the best part of a year. Do they have the glass frictionless feel of some of the more modern linear switches? No, they don't. It's a big improvement, but not only have I been using them stock this whole time, I actually think I prefer it that way. Lubrication for really heavy tactiles can help them, right? You mellow out the bump sometimes, if that's what you need. But for medium and light MX tactiles, anything but the lightest and most accurate application of lubricant can remove the necessary friction required for tactility in these kind of switches. Since the stock lube job in MX Purples is actually a donut ring around the center pole, the springs get coated first, which means, well, lube springs, no spring ping, that's very nice. But only after using them for a couple of weeks do you start to see that lube disperse to the stem and other contact points in the housing. So what I've found consistently in all of the keyboards I've used them in, the MX Purple not only retains its poppy tactility, but it also becomes like a really nice smooth tactile. These switches are for anyone coming from a non-mechanical keyboard or is looking to try their first tactile and doesn't know if they want a small or large tactile bump, anyone who thinks linears are better than tactiles, tactile going rise up, and anyone between the ages of 2 and 114. I am obviously biased, but I really like these switches. They are my favorite switches, which I can finally say, I do genuinely think a lot of you will love these, just as I do, so go over to glarses.com and check them out before they run out. I just wish the story ended there. So, do you remember how Cherry wouldn't just lend me 1,000,000 switches? Yeah, same thing with the Cherry MX Purples. But, go and get it. This invoice confirms that the Glarses company has taken out a payment order of Cherry MX Purples in the magnitude of $1,030,000. 36,800 units.
So you were going to receive 2,222.
Exactly. Wow.
Not only would this operation require new testing, new molds, and new machine setups from Cherry, but I needed somewhere to store the switches. I can't just store it where I live. They come in these, like, huge pallets. But I thought this would be done way faster than it was, so for half a year it's just been sitting empty, whilst I've been paying $2,500 a month for it. And then I actually have to pay to ship the switches from Germany, where they're made, to London, where I am. God forbid I want to sell them to the US, where my primary audience is. Oh, no. First you got to get a bunch of government documents and government numbers, and that means you got to speak to government officials because you did it wrong. Then you have to speak to lawyers and accountants and financial advisors. To be honest, I kind of ignored because they said I shouldn't do it, but it was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be easy and funny and easy. The grand total cost of my million sub joke, 6 figures, and the first digit isn't 1. Aware of my Glarses company not doing so wellness, Cherry gave me a deal.
They agreed to manufacture all of the switches and would lower the initial fee to start sending them to me down to a quarter of the invoice. So
all of this is just a quarter. This is 250,000 that I'm struggling with. Yeah, crazy.
this was on the basis that I would pay for the other 3 quarters by the end of the calendar year.
At the rate I was packing, I'd be done by around May of next year. With the stakes well and truly staked, I had to figure out a way to speed up this packing. And thus begins Switch Packing, the speed run, the movie.
The first thing I needed to level up was my counting speed, which is why I bought this, a medical grade counting scale. Right, you use it to count stuff. I can just pour switches into a cup and it will tell me when I've hit the number of switches I need, which is 36. Having the scale count for me made a massive difference. On my first run I achieved a 16-18 2-bag split, a massive gain from the roughly half an hour speed I'd been previously working at. I still knew I could do better. The weakest link of the process was no longer the counting, but the actual bag closing motion. See, it's not as simple as just pouring them in and sealing the bag shut. I also need to make sure that each bag is a single switch thick. I found the best way to do it was to bunch my fingers together, push the pile of switches in, and then use my offhand to level the switches horizontally. Getting better at this new technique shaved another 30 seconds or so off my time, but the real time saver was yet to come. After settling around a 13-minute 900 bag split for a day or two, I had a couple of new ideas to improve my time. I put some tape on the edges of the basket so switches couldn't fall out when I filled it to the brim. Then, I put a mark inside each cup around the 36 switch level. This meant I got better at seeing and eventually recognizing by weight when I had 36 switches in a cup, reducing the amount of extra switches I needed to add or remove. These improvements led to my first sub-12 split, but even then I knew I could still do better. Later that day, I went out to my nearest supermarket and bought these. Just a ton of new cups. My plan was, instead of filling 3 or 4 cups at once, I would fill enough cups to clear 900 switches at once. It's a great idea, in theory, but in reality, trying to keep track, pour and measure each cup became more of a job of its own. I did try it a few times, but my pace always ballooned back up to around a 16 to 17 minute split, the worst since I'd begun to optimize. I kinda just stuck with the last fastest method for a while, and even though I'd been improving, I wasn't going anywhere near fast enough to finish by the end of the week. And I remember what I felt in this moment so clearly. It's what I'd been feeling pretty much for the entire year. It was this fear of risk that I'd never experienced before. I've managed more than once to start an ambitious, expensive project and by the skin of my teeth pull it off in time or in one piece, but I was starting to feel like this was the one to really sink the ship. Unless I wanted to spend the next 3 months doing nothing but packing switches, I could not do this. Not alone, at least.
Hello? You meant to knock on the door. I don't understand.
No, it's just the entrance.
Yeah, we did came in there.
Yeah, but you came in and asked the question. I imagined with 4 extra hands, I'd only need a third of the time to finish packing. I was wrong. It turns out, the efficiency gains from packing as a duo were far greater than just double the speed of packing solo. I can't lie, it was kinda demoralizing to see them pack so much faster than me, so to not be left out. Jim! Over various days, I got a couple of extra hands in to help us throughout the rest of the week, to great result. But whether there was 1 person or 7 people in the warehouse, I was the only person working solo. nobody wanted to work with me. Given how much faster people could pack with an optimized pair, I wanted to see what kind of damage I could do to my time. Unfortunately, I only had one more person in my phone book who would be willing to pack switches for an entire day.
Why are you the way that you are?
And on our very first 900, a 708 split.
Damn.
By the end of the week, many hands began to do what I could not alone.
After many days of this, we are finally down to the last box. And I get a woo! You guys look tired. Why you look so tired for? It's a Saturday. It's a Saturday, yes.
Yeah. I spent a lot of this year in a really fearful headspace.
This is the last 36.
Hitting 1 million subscribers wasn't this big celebration.
35. I think you're gonna count along.
But a wake-up call of, wow, this is my real job. I don't want this to end. And so in trying to preserve it, I just thought I'd do the videos that will get views. And I won't do the stupid creative videos that might cost a lot of money and time and end up ultimately failing. To cut a long story short, I hit a breaking point and ultimately accepted that I can't see the future. I don't know what the best next video is, but I still really want to create. And I still have a ton of new ideas I want to try. And honestly, it's okay if I'm only doing this for even another 6 months. I can't think of anything better but to eat, drink, and find satisfaction in this, regardless of how unorthodox my way of doing it is. And so I decided, in retaliation of my previous mindset, I was going to destroy my analytics, put myself out of my comfort zone again, which just so happened to align with my need of a new play button.
4, 3, 2, 1.
0, and we're done. Yay!
Thank you to everyone who supported this channel over the last 4 years. It goes without saying, but you really let me live my childhood dream, and for that I am grateful. So grateful, actually, that for as long as I can, I will continue to make the dumbest, most dramatic, unnecessary experiences on this YouTube channel as a show of respect for those who take the time out to watch them. I'm also going to be packing switches until I'm like 35, but honestly, I could think of worse things.